Good day, folks. This is Great Judy at Green Pasture Farm. Today we are working on the corral. This is on the new farm that Jan and I bought a year or so ago, and we didn't have any way to handle animals over here, load them, sort, band them, whatever. We want to sell something and load, or even receiving animals. We didn't have any place to really unload. If you're bringing in animals from another farm and they're not used to your farm, it's kind of nice to have an area where you can dump them out, let them de-stress, and then let them out and start grazing. Hopefully you have other animals on the farm that you can kind of put with them to take some of the stress off. But yeah, the boys are working on the bud box right now. We've got 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 sorting alleys. Each one is about 16 to 18 feet wide, and they're about, I think there's around 80 feet. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, times 8, 96. They're 90, this is 96 feet long. It'll hold a lot of cattle. We normally bring in, just enough to kind of work, and we'll leave the rest out in the field. We get those worked, and we'll bring in another batch. We're gonna have the head catch in this open area right here, and we've got all the trusses. We're gonna put a shelter over the top of the head catch, and the alley and the head catch are gonna be sitting on concrete. And so they come out of the bud box over here. It's gonna look a lot easier to explain when we get the building up. But I am putting a wall on the west and one on the north just to knock the wind off. And it seems like every time you work cattle, it's either raining, snowing, wind's blowing, or it's just really cold. So it's gonna be nice. We've got it pretty much done on the perimeter, and once this building goes in, then we've got 2 more pieces of wall here to put in. Can't put that in until we get the building up. So it's coming along really nice. We're using all treated posts, treated wood, 2x8s, staples, cattle panels, steel 16-foot cattle panels. They go up pretty good. We drove the post with the post pounder, and it's heck for stout. They're not gonna go through that. If you got an animal that'll jump out of that, you ought to just go ahead and send them on to town, assuming you can catch them, and yeah, send them to town. You don't need animals like that. They just make life too difficult on the farm. So yeah, we just don't tolerate that. We got rid of all those a long time ago. The old saying that the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree, that's a pretty good saying. If you got a goofy one, pretty good chance its calf is going to be goofy too. So make life enjoyable. Get rid of the cows that are spooky, keep the ones that aren't, and in a couple of years you won't have to worry about that anymore. So yeah, this has come together really nice. We were able to incorporate these 3 big cedar trees. There's another big one right here, and then we got these oaks hanging over on each end. And telling Isaac, I'm gonna plant me a couple trees over there on that far fence on the outside of the corral, protect them from the cattle, and as they grow, they'll be throwing shade into the corral as well. So I like shade. It's kind of nice, especially on a 100-degree day. It's just makes life a lot more enjoyable for you and the animals. Our plan is, we've got water way oh, it's probably, gosh, 3/8 of a mile over there, piped water. So I've been wanting to get water on this side of the farm anyway. So we're thinking we're going to put a frost-free tank way up there on that hill. And when we come across this valley, I'm going to put a T in it. And actually the T is already in the ground. So here's what happened. We got a neighbor here that bought 10 acres. He's building a new house. And he owns a pond. And the previous landowner, he owned all this, of course. And he sold it to the developers. And of course, when the developers cut it up, they're just looking at landscape. They didn't care about water. Well, this pond had a pipe. It goes all the way down that valley by those cedars over there. And so when I trenched down that hill, that water line that he ran actually runs to a tank down there. I can't use it because this guy up here owns the pond. And so he owns the water. That's the way it works. So when I cut that line, I'm gonna trench right through it. Of course, I'll put a cap on, I'll just cap his side because he's not gonna need it on my land. But over here, I'm gonna tee into it and bring it on up here to the Kraut. And I'll also energize that line down there in that valley. So I'm gonna end up getting 2 water tanks and a hydrant, which is already, he got a hydrant plumbed in down there. And then I'm gonna run it up here. It's always nice to have water at the Kraut. Because if you gotta lock something up for a day or two to sell, or it's winter time, you're trying to get, butcher something, get something brought into the processor, you gotta carry water. And carrying water to a chicken or a sheep is different than carrying water to cows. Cows drink a lot of water. And at 8 pounds a gallon, if you go to packing 100 gallons a day, that's 800 pounds. So it's just handy to have piped water. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put probably a hydrant, or we may probably be a hydrant. I prefer snap couplers, but a hydrant's kind of handy just to reach up and turn on. Coupler, you got to, of course, reach down the ground to plug into it. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, and boys are wrapping this up, and we're almost ready to put the shed up. We've got everything to do it, and we'll probably get started on that later in the week. Y'all have a good one, and check out that heifer auction. It's coming up on Friday. We got 18 heifers that have been exposed to Judy bull. These heifers are 3/4 South Pole, and they are located in Mattoon, Illinois. And they're 16 to 18 months old. Just a beautiful set of grass genetic heifers that'll be, they're exposed to the bull. And he did not preg check them, but the bull's been in for 60 days, and they will be ready to calve next spring. So check it out, greenpasturesfarm.net, and the auction ends on Friday. Y'all have a good one.